มหาอภิวาม
หา
ท
พิวาทะ
พุท
พุท
ธว
ธวจ
จนะ
นะ
จตุ
จ
ราสี
ตุราสี
ธ
ติ
รรม
ธรรม
ขัน
ขัน
ธ์
ธะ
ส
สหัส
หัสสา
สา
มิ
นิ
วี
วี
ส
ส
ติ
ติ
อ
อริ
ริย
ยมรรค
มรรควี
วีสติ
ติ
สา
สา
มัญญ
มัญญ
พละ
ปะละ
เอ
เอ
กะนิพ
นิพพา
พานะ
นะขิปา
คิปา
ปิญ
ทิญ
ญา
ญาโด
โด
ยเฉีย
ยเฉียบ
บพลัน
พลันในประ
ใน
วั
ประวั
ติการ
ติการ
นี้เถิ
นี้
ด
เถิด
โย
โยโวอา
อา
นัน
นัน
ทามยา
ตา
ธรรม
ธรรม
โม
โมจาวิ
จา
นั
วิน
โย
ยโยจา
จา
เท
เท
สิ
สิโต
โต
ปัญ
ปัญ
ญา
ญา
โต
โตโส
โส
โว
โหมามา
มะมา
จา
จ
เยนะ
นา
สั
สั
ท
ท
ธา
ธาโย
โย
โวอา
อา
นัน
นันทาม
ทาม
ยา
ยาธรรมโมจา
จา
วินโย
วินโยจาเท
จาเท
สิโก
สิโตปั
ปัญ
ญญา
ญาโต
โต
โส
โสโว
มามา
มา
จา
มา
เย
จเยนะ
นะ
สั
สั
ทธา
ทธาโย
โยอานันทามยาธรรม
ธัม
โม
โมจา
จา
วิ
วิน
น
โย
โย
จา
จา
เท
เท
สิโต
สิโตปั
ปั
ญ
ญ
ญา
ญา
โต
โตโส
โส
โว
มา
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 จา
จเยนะ
นะ
สัท
สัท
ธา
ธา
พุทธวจนะจ
วัจนะ
ตุรา
จตุรา
สี
สีติ
ติ
ธรรม
ธรรม
ขันธ์
ขันธาส
สาม
หัสสานิ
คือ
คือปร
ปร
มัตถะ
มัตถะ
อนุตตร
อนุตตร
สัมมา
สัมมา
สัมโพ
สัมโพ
ธิ
ธิ
สมณะ
สมณะ
โค
โค
ตมะ
ตมะปัญญา
ปัญญา
ธิกะ
ธิกะ
นะโมตัส
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมา
สะสัมมา
สัม
สัมพุทธัส
พุทธัสสะ
สะนะโม
นะโมตัสสะภะ
ภะ
คะวะโต
คะวะโต
อะ
อะ
ระหะโต
ระหะโต
สัมมา
สัม
สัมพุทธัสสะ
พุทธัสสะนะโม
นะโม
ตัสสะ
ตัสสะภะ
ภะ
คะวะโต
คะวะโต
อะ
อะ
ระหะโต
ระหะโต
สัมมา
สัมมา
สัมพุท
สัมพุทธั
ธัสสะ
สสะ
สาธุค่ะ
to
everybody
to everyone ครับ so let's go okay. As always, right before we begin the class, we need to mention about the important note that Dhamma provided in this presentation is simple and not Kampira or profound. People must continuously study Dhamma or else it will lead to Mahatapa, Niraya or hell because it is Miccha Titti or not following the Buddha's teaching. If any provided content contrasts with Dhamma 84,000 Dhammakantaka, please refer to Dhamma 84,000 Dhammakantaka only. What day is today? Today is 9th Sukha Pakhatsa, Phakuna Masassa, Maha Puttha Shayanti 2613, or March 8th, Buddha's era 2568. And Yo Ananta Maya Thammo Ja Vinayo Ja Tesito Panyato So Wo Mamajayena Sattha, or translate into English that Buddha Vajana 84,000 Dhammakantaka is Anuttara Samma Sampodhi. This is the phrase that Anuttara Samma Sampodhi mentioned before enter Parinibbana to teach and to teach Savaka who wants to enter Nirvana according to the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sampodhi, that when Anuttara Samma Sampodhi enters Nirvana, Anuttara Samma Sampodhi didn't appoint any Sangha to be to replace Anuttara Samma Sampodhi, but instead Anuttara Samma Sampodhi mentioned that Buddha Vajana 84,000 Dhammakantaka is Anuttara Samma Sampodhi. That's why we need to Sikhaya as we always enter Dhamma class, even no matter it's in Thai language or English language. All of those classes are actually those classes perform the same in Paramattha Dhamma level, but it looks different in communication language level because we use different language. In this class, we use English. Normally, we use Thai language. However, those language are only communication language. Either in Thai or English, those are communication language. And those communication language, whether it's in Thai or in English, in this case, we translate from Puttavajana 84,000 Dhammakantaka is Anuttara Samma Sampodhi back into Puttavajana that Anuttara Samma Sampodhi said when Anuttara Samma Sampodhi was about to enter Nirvana, that said Yovo Ananta Maya Dhammo Ja Vinayo Ja Tesito Panyato Sovo Mamajayena Sattha. And this Makatha language is the gateway to enter Dhamma language and enter Paramattha Dhamma, which contains Citta 121, Cetasika 52, Rupa 28. In this case, the same case in Thai language, we said Puttha Vajana Chaturasiti Dhammakantha Sahassani or 84,000 Dhammakantha คือ Paramattha Anuttara Samma Sampodhi. And we need to translate Thai language back into Magadha language. And the same we said, Yovo Ananta Maya Dhammo Ja Vinayo Ja Tesito Panyato Sovo Mamajayena Sattha. You see that from communication language, from Thai language, and from English language, we go back to Magadha language. However, this Magadha language is the gateway to enter Dhamma language, and it will be performed the same when we go into Paramattha level, which contain Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, which we are continuously Sikkaya. Next slide. Okay. As we are one of the four Buddha Parisa, we also have our responsibilities to taking care of Buddhism according to Dhamma Vinaya that Anuttara Samma Sampodhi said. So we are one of four Buddha Parisa. The responsibility of the four Buddha Parisa consisting of, the first one is the four Buddha Parisa must well understand the Tipitaka, 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the second one is the four Buddha Parisa must be able to correctly present 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the last one, the four Buddha Parisa must be able to correct those who condemn or misunderstand the Tipitaka, 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And in this picture, yes.
So we pay respect to our Dhammacariya Suchanakorn and Than Angkakuna Ariya Dhamma Sotapanna. Vi Sati Ariya Makha, Vi Sati Samanya Kara, Eka Nibbana, Khippa Pinya โดยเฉียบพลันในประวัติการนี้เถิดสาธุสาธุสาธุนาวุติอุปนิธิพันธะอนุโมทามิ
Okay, so we have our responsibility to be one of the four Buddha Parisa. That's why we perform our duties.
That's why we are here.
Yes, you're here. We perform these three responsibilities continuously. We try to understand Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakantaka as much as we can. We are continuously Sikkaya. The more we Sikkaya, the more profound we understand the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sampodhi. And when we understand the profoundness of Dhamma Vinaya of Anuttara Samma Sampodhi, we are perplexed with the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sampodhi, how accurate the knowledge or the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sampodhi can explain everything in this world, and then not only in this world, in this universe, and moreover actually not only in Manusa Bhumi. Manusa Bhumi is only one of the 31 Bhumi. The teaching of Anuttara Samma Sampodhi explained the existing of 31 Bhumi and how to escape from them. That far beyond the knowledge of science. Science only have knowledge only for only on this planet mostly. At this moment, they seems to have more knowledge about our solar system and more universes. However, with those knowledge, comparing to the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, it is kind of uncomparable. Even we feel like science today is very advanced with the cutting edge technology that we know today, for example, like artificial intelligence, something like that, which help us have our daily activities much more easier. And in the same time, we are hardly distinguish artificial intelligence with real people. It's harder and harder because those technologies seems to be able to perform very close to human. However, with those performance very close to human, with the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi has already mentioned about these kind of things before it even happened. Because Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi said that in the world that we are here, we believe that our body is here, our mind is here. We actually exist in this world. In Sikaya, we comparing this level in the world into layers. We assume that first we assume it have 100 layers, and the layer that we are staying at level 0, and with level 0 is nothing, no chitta and cetasika, and actually no real rupa are staying at this level. With that said by Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, the science help us prove the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi by invented artificial intelligence. If you look carefully, those kind of technology, they perform exactly as human as we know. They can remember. They can answer your questions. They can analyze. Even their performance sometimes are better than many people. However, those are not living creatures. The performance or the knowledge or even they seems to be able to recite things as us. When we ask questions to them, they answer correctly according to what they know, what they remember, what they recite. And look carefully, they are not even living things. They're not they don't have Shivita Cetasika that working with them. But they perform exactly as same as us at level 0. And at level 0, Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi has already mentioned that at this level, they are nothing. At this level, we are only Uttu and Ahara, or Uttu Sharupa and Ahara Sharupa. Our real Chitta and Cetasika resides in Kamma Sharupa, which lies in level 99. And actually, the Chitta and Cetasika itself, it stays at level 100, not level 0. So that's why I encourage everyone to look carefully in your daily life, comparing with what Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi said. And then when you look carefully, you'll see how those teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi explain everything in your daily lives. And when you look into more details, you're intriguing by how Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi knows this. And even you look into more detail and you see the performance of those teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, and we will explain some of those scenario in today's class. Okay, next one. We start from the first one, Paticcasamuppada. This one is actually when Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi alight. The enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi is about Paticcasamuppada. Paticcasamuppada, without the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, we don't know what keeps us in 31 bhumi. We don't know why the cycle of existence is not ending. Why we keep suffering with wherever we stay. Why we feel suffering, we feel hate, we feel angry, we feel suffer without feelings. Even, for example, like you think that some of you might like go travel. You think that travel is fun, is happy. Is that really happy? Think carefully. When you go travel, at the beginning of the trip, you might feel happy. However, how about when the trip is about to end? In case you have a happy trip, well-planned trip, and everything goes as planned, and trip is about to end. Do you feel happy about that? Do you feel happy about the ending of that trip? You might be start suffering that you need this happiness a bit last longer. What happened? The question is that happiness really a happiness? Why the happiness is not last long? Why it have limited time of happiness? Is that kind of things, that kind of feelings really the happiness? Are we as a human misunderstand the happiness for all our lives? The questions go back to the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, because when we ask people, they seem that okay, this is happy. They want to do this, for example, like trip. But for me myself, I have a lot of questions, and this is one of the questions: why happiness have to have time limit? However, is it possible to have happiness without time limit? And what control the happiness to have a time limit? Why you feel happiness, but eventually it turned back into suffering anyway, related to the action or things that you start with the happiness. Things keep repeating this cycle again and again and again. And when we go back to consult with the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, and then we start to understand things that Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi enlightened and telling us. First of all, when the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi enlightened about Paticcasamuppada, or explained for the beginners that this is the system that keep you staying in 31 bhumi and keep you the endless cycle of existence in 31 bhumi. However, within Paticcasamuppada system, there also a pathway to escape from the cycle of existence within 31 bhumi. And this pathway to escape from the endless cycle of existence is also under Paticcasamuppada system, which enlightened by Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi. So with the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi explained to us about how things work and how of the cycling of existence in 31 bhumi works, and how to escape from that under the Paticcasamuppada system. How to escape by using Paticcasamuppada system. So the enlightenment of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi explained about Paticcasamuppada and divided this system into two main parts. The first one called Vatta, or Lokiya Citta 81. These are the source that keep you staying in 31 bhumi. Endless of cycling of existence happen because of vatta or lokiya citta 81. And another part is which is also under Paticcasamuppada system. But this part is the path that leads to end the cycle of existence. This part called Vivatta. Vivatta or Lokuttara Citta 40. This path leads to the end of cyclic of existence. However, this part also under Paticcasamuppada system. Altogether, Paticcasamuppada containing Citta 121. And not only Citta, but whenever Citta work, they need to work with Cetasika. Or so for Citta 121, we mentioned about Citta 121. However, Cetasika 52 also working with Citta 121, and then they create Rupa 28. This one explained in very simple form and very rough picture for beginner to understand what the enlightenment of Anuttara Sammadhi is about, and what our journey start from where and where are we going. We start from Vatta, which we are staying in Vatta. Without the teaching of Anuttara Sammadhi or without Sikkaya, we don't know that Paticcasamuppada exists. We don't know this kind of system exists. We don't know that we are under influence of Vatta, or we don't know that we are under influence of Lokiya Citta 81. And by
Okay, Gan.
yes,
I want to know that how we can define that this is dukkha and this is happiness. How can we define that?
very good questions, Vipin. For me myself, sharing my experience with the one who begins to Sikaya. Well, the one that you can identify as the true happiness should not be followed by suffering at all. However, that kind of event or that kind of experience never happened in any of human activities that people know, that know by mankind. But the true happiness without time limits, that could be possible. That is definitely possible.
But if we have
Only
many
one
money,
condition. Only one condition. That kind of happiness, unlimited time of happiness, that will happen only if you are following the teaching of Anuttara Sammadhi, not following the logics and the beliefs of normal people, because those kind of happiness have time limits. Those happiness with time limits, actually, they are not working by the good citta, or that is not the way that lead you to Vivatta or the performance of Lokuttara Citta 40. They're nothing related to those paths to end the cyclic of existence.
You mean that for the design of a good person or rich person or happiness person cannot define by only in the world language like that, but it's only in the Dhamma only, right?
Or if you think carefully,
Yeah.
if you look only a certain period of time, for example, like an example of the trip, if you take the point of time at the beginning of the trip, you might feel happy. However, if you pick the point of time when the trip is about to over, you might be suffering. And that activities, the trip activities, if it is really good, why it followed by the suffering in the same activities? So it means that something wrong with that activities. Why start with happiness and ending with suffering? And not only that, if you think carefully, more scenario in this world happen that way. And if you think carefully, every activities in this world happen that way. When you meet people that you like or the one that you love, you feel happy, right? But that kind of happiness, is it last long? Is it have time limits? Is it leads you to suffering? If you said that, oh, I have a good time with this person, or just kind of the one that I really love, during the period that you're staying together, you have fight. During the fight, are you suffering? And even you have you agree together, you never fight each other. When one of those person about to pass away, do you feel suffering? If it's that good, why you feel suffering? Because something wrong with those activities. And those something wrongs happen because of the Vata system. It happened because of influence of Lokiya Citta 81. And normal people without Sikkaya or without knowing the teaching of Nanuttara Samma Sambuddhi, we don't know how they works. We know only we feel happy. We love this person. We like this person. We want to stay with them forever, right? But during the time that we decided, and then during the time, things change, feelings change, and during the end, everyone's suffering. When anyone that you are familiar with, the one you love, about to pass away, everyone feels suffer. That's normal for people. That's normal for us too. But that come back to questions that I asked. Is it possible that we have endless happiness? And I insist, until now, I insist that we definitely be able to find endless happiness, but through the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, but not following the rules and regulations of normal people that they are thinking. Because of those activities, they repeat again and again and again and again that those kind of activities start with something like happiness, but ending with suffering, always bringing that way. If you can go back and think about this, if you challenge this idea, you can go back and look carefully at every activities that you know by yourself, and you will find that every activity is ending the same, having the same characteristics, no matter what they are. Because I myself have been trying to figure it out. Are there any exceptional of those activities by normal people without Sikkaya that makes happiness endless? Don't have that makes happiness doesn't have time limit. I can't find one. If you find one, let me know. But the one that I can find is by following the Buddha's teaching. This one can help you create endless of happiness. And by endless of happiness, you need to control citta that related with Lokiya Citta 81. By controlling them, first you need to don't know them first. Lokiya Citta 81 consisting of Kamavachara Citta 54, Rupavachara Citta 15, Arupavachara Citta 12. You see, even
Yes.
Rupavachara Citta 15 and Arupavachara Citta 12 is still suffering. There still remains in Lokiya Citta 81. We seems that we by our beliefs, we believe that Brahma 16 and Rupa Brahma Bhumi 4, which is higher level than us, they should be very happy, but why they are keeping in the same category with us in Lokiya Citta or in Vatta? Even Brahma and Arupa Brahma don't have endless happiness. They still have time limits. This is the challenge one, and this is why we follow the Buddha's teaching to end the cycle of existence and happiness with time without time limit. That would happen by we starting from Vatta side, which under the performance of which under the influence of Lokiya Citta 81. But before we are following the Buddha's teaching, we are start from Citta, the first Citta, which is Lopa Citta. โสมนัสสะสหคตังทิฏฐิคตะสัมปยุตตังอสังขาริกังกามาวจระอกุศลโลภมุลจิตตัง And then we sikkaya and we go to step into the second citta. So manasa sahakatang titi kata sampayuttang sankharigang kama vajra akusala lopamucitta. And we start to sikkaya and follow the Buddha's teaching. We are starting our journey here from Vatta. Go to Vivatta to the end of the cycle of existence by following the Buddha's teaching. During our journey, we will have a Nuttara Samma Sampoti with us along the way. As we mentioned at the beginning of the class, that Yovo Ananta Maya Dhammo Ja Vinayo Ja Tesito Panyatto Sovo Mamachayana Satta. No matter what happens with our lives, we remain with the teaching of Nuttara Samma Sampoti, not the people's teaching. Okay, Happy Ping, do you have any questions?
No, and for the paramattha, that enlightenment is enlightenment Paticcasamuppada, which can lead us from the unhappy to happy forever, right?
Correct. And by doing so, the things that we said, that it's impossible for the knowledge we have by ourselves without the following the Buddha's teaching, without sikkaya, it will never happen that way. Our happiness will always have time limits, because those happiness they are under Lokiya Citta 81. Not only Lokiya Citta 81, but without sikkaya, we are only under the influence of Akusala Citta 12. Akusala Citta 12 consisting of Lopa Citta 8, Dosa Citta 2, and Moha Citta 2. We are under influence of these citta. And to show you the course of those kind of repeating characteristics of every human activities. We could have happiness, we could have suffering, and this feeling keep coming back and back and again and again and again. Why so? Because actually those kind of cycle create under influence of Lopa Mula Citta 8, Tosa Mula Citta 2, and Moha Mula Citta 2. Have you, when you were in the kindergarten, imagine when you were back when we were in the kindergarten, you have a puppet that your teacher played a hand puppet for you. Akusala Citta 12, comparing Akusala Citta 12 as your teacher. So with a puppet characteristics, one side is puppet character, and another side is all puppet character. And those two characters create a story, and you believe and you have fun and you have suffering with these kind of story. But those story created by your teacher, or in this case, they are created by Akusala Citta 12. Whenever you feel happy, you feel happy because of Akusala Citta 12. You feel suffering. You are suffering because Akusala Citta 12. However, no matter what you feel, happy or unhappy, happy, suffering, love, hate, hungry, not hungry, sleepy, not sleepy, they are created by Akusala Citta 12. And the more you enjoy with those activities and those stories, it keep akusala citta 12 stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So look carefully. The sign that shown that the power of akusala citta 12 is so stronger because when you were a kid, you're not you might not be angry easily. But when you grow up to be adult, you might feel angry with the small things, and you might find it harder to happy with little things. When you were a kid, you might feel happy easily. You can happy with easy something. You feel happy easy with a little things. For example, like if it rains, you're playing a puddle that caused by rain, you feel happy. But when you are adult, that puddle doesn't make you feel happy anymore. This is the comparing that this is the more power of akusala citta 12, that you enjoy the story of your life without knowing that you are under influence of akusala citta 12, without the trick that akusala citta 12 play with your life. You look like a kindergarten in front of the hand puppet that a teacher is playing to keep you engaged and keep you enjoy. And that puppet master is akusala citta 12. And those people in this world enjoy under this akusala citta 12 puppet master that keep you engaged for the rest of their lives. And that is why the happiness that you encounter with whatever your activity is, it has the same characteristics. It keeps the cycle spinning. Happiness, suffering, feel indifferent, suffering, happy, indifferent, something like that. And it keeps this cycle again and again and again. And go back to the questions that people ask. This is kind of you can identify, is this for real happiness? The trick is whenever it created by puppet master, which is akusala citta 12, it keeps you in this cycle. Happiness, indifferent, suffering. It might be a bit not in order. Happiness, suffering, indifferent, suffering, happiness, indifferent, something like that. But the same activity will have these characteristics. But for Sikhaya, these characteristics will be disappeared. It will keep happiness, 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 and happiness. However, during the journey from Vatta, which start from Lokiya Citta 81 into Lokuttara Citta 40 or Vivatta, this kind of journey demands you to continuously Sikhaya. Continuously Sikhaya will help you identify the puppet master, how you be tricked by these puppet master or akusala citta 12. Without the Sikhaya, no one can identify those tricks that create by akusala citta 12 for you. But with Sikhaya, Anuttara Samma Sambuddha explain every details about those tricks that keep you engaged, and keep you in the cycle of your feelings, hate, indifferent, suffering, happiness, something like that that happen every day. And Anuttara Samma Sambuddha explain how to escape from this one, how akusala citta 12 trick you with this one, what trick they are using, and what trick they are using with each of the event that happens. And when you know the tricks, then that tricks cannot be fooled you anymore and cannot keep you engaged with the feelings anymore. But there are lots of tricks of Akusala Citta 12. So that's why you need to continuously Sikkaya to ask Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, to identify those tricks for you. Otherwise, if you want to find those tricks yourself, you'll be fooled by Akusala Citta 12 because they are so clever, they are so smart, they even build your body, your mind, and your environment. So actually you are fully under the influence of Akusala Citta 12. By escape from their influence by yourself is impossible. I insist, it's impossible. Only way to escape from the influence of Kusala Citta 12 or start a journey from Vatta into Vivatta is the only way to follow is the Buddha's teaching. Otherwise, no way. You cannot escape them. You cannot find the tricks. Even today, you know that, oh, you are under the puppet master. You are the kindergarten and you are controlled by puppet master, which are Akusala Citta 12, and those Akusala Citta 12 keep you engaged. So you think by logical of people that, so okay, in that case, if these 12 keep we engage, so we disengage from everything in our lives. You think by doing so is so clever and you can escape from the influence of Akusala Citta 12. But actually, the one that makes you decide to disengage from everything in yourself, in your daily lives, and stay away from everything. That is also under influence of Akusala Citta 12. So engage or disengage is still under the influence of Akusala Citta 12. Without Sikkaya, you cannot escape from their influence. They fool you all the way, no matter what you think. That's why I one of the things I usually mention about when we Sikkaya, don't trust yourself.
Sikkaya and study. Can you separate these two?
This is also a good question, Piping. Very good questions. For study, if we go back to what we are talking, what we discussed today, we said that by the activities of when we our daily activities have the same characteristics. We feel happy, you feel suffering, we feel indifferent. Study is one of the activities that have the same characteristics. If you're happy when we have a good score with our test, we start to feel a bit headache if we are about to have a test tomorrow. And we feel suffering if we cannot answer the test and fail on the test. See, this is the same characteristics of the activities that I mentioned in this class today. The same characteristics. So with these characteristics of activities, it remains under influence of Kusala Citta 12. This is study. But Sikkaya is different. Sikkaya, we are following is the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha's teaching help us identify the trick of Akusala Citta 12. Not identified what can we recite, and not ask us to fill in the blanks, and not ask us to perform the test. This one different. These are simple difference. For study, you see that from study activities, you need to recite, you need to read books, you need to listen to a lot of teacher teaching, and then practice, prepare for the test. That is those are activities of the study. And for Sikkaya, you also have the same activities. You have to recite, you have to listen a lot, you have to read a lot. However, when we measure the progress of study and Sikaya, these where you start to see the difference. For study, we measure your progress by how much can you recite, and if we have questions for you, you answer correctly according to what we said before. And we keep your scoring to keep your progress, to record your progress by your scoring. That is study. But for Sikaya, the difference shown here. You are able to recite. That's good for you. When we ask questions, you answer correct or incorrect. That's good for you. But we are not keeping score on that. We're not keeping any score. If you can recite, that's good for you. If you can't, keep reciting. If you ask questions, you can answer. That is good for you. If you can't, don't worry. Keep reading, keep listening. And what we measure when we Sikaya, we measure only one thing. Whether you are suffering less, or you feel angry, less angry, slower to feel angry, or when you feel angry, those angriness subside quicker. That is the things that we are looking for when we are looking for Sikaya progress. These are different. This is the point of identify the progress of study and Sikaya. These are different. So for study, if we ask you, if we give you homework to recite Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa, Chitta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, and you come back with the time limit that we have, and you cannot recite it, you could be blind. You could be feel suffering, right? But that is different. That is study. When you Sikaya, we give you homework. We also give you homework to recite Chitta, Cetasika, Rupa, Chitta 121, Cetasika 50, Rupa 28. And you come back and you cannot recite it. We say, okay, keep reciting it. Go back. And when in case that today you can recite it, tomorrow you forget, don't worry. Go back and recite it again. We are not keeping your score in this way. We are not keeping your progress by your able to recite things, and we are not keeping your score by when we ask and you answer the correct questions that are correct according to what we said yesterday. Because when we said when we Sikaya, as we mentioned at the beginning of the class, Dhamma is profound. And the things that we are explaining here is not that Kampira or profound. The answer to the same questions will definitely be changed. So you answer the correct questions today. You answer correct to our questions today. Doesn't mean anything, because this one is not yet the real things. This is only the starting point here. So you can answer or not answer. You can answer correctly or incorrectly. Don't worry. One thing that we are measuring you is that, are you keeping Sikaya, or keeping listening, keeping reciting, keeping reading? And the result, are you feel less angry? You feel harder to feel angry, or your angriness subside quicker? That is your progress. This
Okay,
is
very clear for
right?
this. And
Think carefully. It takes time.
yes, Okay, and add more one thing that sikkaya you can get from watta and you will go to vivatta. You can go to sekha and then asekha in future in order to get nirvana. But study you can get only titi, right?
Because the characteristics of activities being
Yeah.
it's today we go very slow because we want our the one who participate in this class to think carefully because we are proving that every teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi is practical one and happen in your real life. It's not only in the book, it's not the chart, but it's your life. Those Dhamma Vinaya that we explained, they are performing in your life in every minute, every second. And do you know them? Can you identify them? Do you know the tricks of Kusala Chitta 12, as we mentioned? Because to identify those tricks, you need Sikkaya, you need Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi to identify how Akusala Chitta 12 play tricks with your life. Like this. And go back to very good questions of Piping that you said about the difference of study and sikkaya. The characteristics of feelings within that activities.
Satu.
Sikkaya will have happiness, and the other to identify the progress of so sikkaya is to identify the less of the angriness that happened with you and the slower of the angriness that happened with you and the quicker of the happiness that disappear from your mind. But for study, no, study we study measure only what you can recite. Do you answer the correct one? Do you answer questions correctly according to what we mentioned about in the past before we take the test? However, if we look into the feelings remain the same. Actually, sometimes it's stronger. You feel more angry, more suffering, more tired, headache. Even in the long run, you could end up with cancer and suffering to death, something like that. And those activities for normal people have the same characteristics. And that kind of things keep that kind of the same characteristics of no matter what activities that you are doing makes me boring, makes me bored. I bored, then the starting, that is one of my starting points because I feel
ठीक है करवा रहा है आइए चलेगा कैसे
Sakiti, do you have questions? Please.
क्या दिमाग खराब
Hello. Okay. And that same characteristics of any activities that we are having in our daily lives keep boring, and then I'm looking back to the teaching of the Dhamma, or looking back to find the activity that have endless of that happiness without time limits, and I find it in Sikkaya, and in this class, that's why we take a lot of time and go very slow to identify the different path that you're about to take, and the different is quite obvious, but think carefully and look carefully. And when we point out where is the wrong things that happen and you might not look at it, and then that might be the starting point from you to start a journey from Vatta into Vivatta, and you start to see Dhamma Vinaya in action in your daily lives. It's not only words, it's not only chart, but your life in it. And you are tricked by puppet master, Akusala Chitta 12. and that keep you engaged from your beginning, from your birth until your death. You cannot escape from these tricks. You end up with the under influence of akusala citta 12. As simple as that. But most of the people keep engaged under the tricks of akusala citta 12 for all their lives without any idea that they are fooled for the whole life. Things like that, Pipi. And
โอเคสาธุ
and then by Sikhaya.
อือฮึ
And first, that's why we insist everyone who wants to Sikhaya and wants to join our journey to be able to recite Chitta and Cetasika and Rupa first. Chitta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28 first, because we need to identify who are puppet master first. If you cannot recite Chitta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, you don't know Akusala Chitta 12 when we mention about them. When you don't know them, cannot identify them. And when you cannot identify them, you don't know them, you cannot identify them, then how can we help you? How can we help you point out the tricks of Akusala Chitta 12 that plays with you? So that's why you need to know, you need to be able to recite Chitta 121. So when we mention about Akusala Chitta 12, then you know that we are talking about Lopa Mula Chitta 8, Tosa Mula Chitta 2, and Moha Mula Chitta 2. Lopa Mula Chitta 8, for example, like Somanasa Sakatan Titi Kata Sampayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. The first one. The second one, Somanasa Sakatan Titi Kata Sampayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. Somanasa Sakatan Titi Kata Vipayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. Somanasa Sakatan Titi Kata Vipayutang Sasankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. Upekha Sakatan Titi Kata Sampayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. Upekha Sakatan Titi Kata Sampayutang Sasankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. Upekha Sakatan Titi Kata Vipayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. Upekha Sakatan Titi Kata Vipayutang Sasankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Chittang. These are Lopa Mula Chitta 8 and Tosa Mula Chitta 2. Tomanasa Sakatang Paticcasamuppada Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Tosa Mula Chittang. Tomanasa Sakatang Paticcasamuppada Sasankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Tosa Mula Chittang. These are Tosa Mula Chitta 2. And the last one, the last two. Upekha Sakatang Vichikicha Sampayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Moha Mula Chittang. Upekha Sakatang Uttacha Sampayutang Asankarigang Kama Vajra Akusala Moha Mula Chittang. These all together are Akusala Chitta 12 that tricks you for the whole life. So Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi enlightenment to tell you about the tricks that those Chitta, not only Akusala Chitta 12, but all Lokiya Chitta 81 that tricks you and keep you in cycling of existence. And to following us on the journey to end the cycle of existence, we insist that you start from the recite Chitta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. And as we mentioned in this class, we are not studying. So if you can recite, good for you. If you cannot recite, that's okay. Keep recite. If he asks you, you can answer, that's good for you. If you can't answer, that's also keep reading, keep listening, keep Sikhaya. And the one thing that we try to help you is you can measure them yourself. We are not judging you. Don't worry. We are not comparing you with others also, because this journey is your journey and your journey only, not us. We have our journey and we tell according to our responsibility of full Buddha Parisa to help people to join our journey and to explain what were the tracks that we pass and how to pass through that way. What problem that you may encounter at each stage of the journey, and how to resolve and how to pass it, to pass every point of the journey, and we help you pass through that. But everything you do it for yourself. And for progress, Sikkaya, progress measurement, we are not measure how much you recite or correctness of your answer to our questions, but we suggest that you measure the progress of yourself by how you feel suffering, how you feel angry. Are you feel much more angry than before, or less angry? Or when you feel angry, it disappear quicker, or you start to feel angry harder, things like that. You compare with previous self of yours, not comparing with others, and we will help you through the journey together. And we insist that by following the Buddha's teaching, eventually you will reach Vivatta, which is end of cycle of existence. Keep Sikkaya, keep listening, keep join the class of Dhammacharya, even though it's in English or in Thai. Don't worry, these are communication language. When they work, when Dhamma Vinaya works, they don't work in communication language level. They are working in Paramattha level, which are beyond than communication language. That's why I insist you join Sikkaya class. Don't worry about the communication language they're using. They might use English, they might use Thai, but whether English or Thai, they have the same characteristics of Paramattha Dhamma, which contain Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. And these Paramattha Dhamma can perform into your soul no matter what communication language that they are using. Quite complicated, quite complex, quite hard to believe, I know. But this is the teaching of Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi in short.
Okay.
So today we cover only one topic about Paticcasamuppada. Okay, maybe other topic in other classes.
Yeah.
Sadhu. Do you have any questions?
Sadhu.
Please feel free to ask if you have any questions. Okay. If there is no questions, that will be end of our class today. Okay, ครับงั้นก็สาธุครับ
Sadhu everyone ค่ะ
สาธุสาธุนะมุติ
สา
มุ
ธุ
ติ
สา
ค่ะ
ธุสาธุมุติปฏิบัติธรรมธรรมสาธุค่ะ
ค่ะ
สาธุค่ะ
สาธุค่ะ
โอเค
See everyone next class
ครับ and then stop